All right, guys, this is Cameron here, taking a look at our yellow packet, page 12. This is Algebra 1 Best Standards practice. Number 17, we have the value of a car exponentially decreases according to the equation y equals 33,400 times the difference of 1 and 1400ths to the power of t. Which part of the equation represents the percent of decrease in the value of the car? So looking at this question, our keywords exponentially decreases lets us know that we are looking at an exponential function. And looking at the formula, I can see the format is the second form on our reference sheet. So when we look here, f of x equals a times 1 minus r, plus or minus r to the power of x. So this right here tells us the rate that you are increasing or decreasing exponentially. And we know we're decreasing because it's a minus. And so the amount of the decrease in decimal form is this 0.14, and they want you to just turn that into a percent. So to turn 0.14, our decimal, into a percent, you multiply by 100, which moves our decimal place back 2 times and gives us 14%. That is the final answer on number 17. To practice similar questions to this, you can go to IXL and look for lesson UKG, and that will be similar practice to this exponential function practice here. And then we're moving forward to number 18. Graph the function f of x equals 4x squared plus 8x plus 8. So this format for this function we have in the quadratic type, and it's in standard form. And if you look on the reference sheet, that is the first equation under your 3 different forms of quadratic function formats. So our standard form, f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. F of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c, where this c right here is something important, like a linear function in slope intercept format, in our quadratic format, quadratic function in standard form. That last number is again our y-intercept. And if I have one more really important point for the graph of this function, I can graph it with a y-intercept and if I can get the coordinates of the vertex. So for me to get the vertex, my first order of business to find the x coordinate for my ordered pair, I've got that formula memorized that says my axis of symmetry, or my x coordinate for my vertex, is b over a times negative 2. And now I'm going to sub in for b, I'm going to sub in this 8 right here. And for a, I can sub in 4. Equals, top stays an 8, but the bottom, 4 times negative 2. A positive times a negative is a negative. 4 times 2 is 8. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 8 divided by 8 is 1. And now that I know my x coordinates, I can find my y coordinates by plugging my x coordinates into the function. So my original equation says f of x, but I'm just going to call it y, equals, right? I can just call that y. Y equals 4x squared plus 8x plus 8. And I'm just going to sub in that negative 1 for my x. So right here, that x becomes negative 1. And right here, this x becomes negative 1. Now solve for y, right? So each little piece here, this part, negative 1 squared, negative 1 times negative 1 becomes positive 1 times 4 is 4. And 8 times negative 1 becomes minus 8. And then bring down your plus 8. Your minus 8 plus 8 cancels each other out. So y equals 4. So now that I know that my y-intercept is 8, and I know that my vertex is at negative 1, 4, I can get to graphing. And there's my x and y axis, x and y. My y-intercept is at positive 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, I'll put that way up there. And my vertex is at negative 1, 4. So x is negative 1, y is 1, 2, 3, 4. So I know that's a minimum. And since this would be my axis of symmetry, I need to have another point right here at negative 2, 8. And now my graph is a U. And I'll just label negative 1, 4 for my vertex and 0, 8 for my y-intercept. And that's done. If you would like some more practice on quadratic functions, similar to questions like this, I'm going to recommend IXL lesson C7T. And I think that'll get you feeling confident at this standard and ready for your algebra and, of course, exam. And continuing on this page, number 19, solve the equation for y. So we just need to get everything to the other side of the equal sign besides the y. So we are solving for y. So we want to get y by itself. So my first order of business is to get rid of this plus 4x. So I will subtract it on both sides of my equal sign to give me 7y equals negative 4x minus 3. And now I can divide both sides by 7 to get the y by itself, and y equals negative 4 sevenths x minus 3 sevenths. Done. And for some practice on this, in IXL, you will go to lesson T5F to practice solving for y. And that'll be a pretty fast lesson to get through on IXL if you're looking at meeting your minimum weekly requirement on your IXL. This is one you can get through pretty quick. And it's worth doing because I'm sure you will have to solve for y at least a time or two on your algebra EOC. And now number 20 says to factor the trinomial, which is just a polynomial with 3 sections to it. So to factor this, that a is just really like an x, right? So this is going to be a binomial by a binomial where we put it in the boxes. So I need a times a to give me a squared, and I need something times something to give me 56. And I'm thinking of my times tables, and I know that 7 times 8 will give me 56. I also know that 7 plus 8 will give me 15. So if I put a 7 and an 8, I'm pretty sure this is what we need to do to factor this trinomial. So a times 7 would be 7a, and a times 8 would be 8a. And this, when you multiply a plus 7 times a plus 8 does give you a squared. 7 plus 8 plus 15a plus 56. So my answer is a plus 7 times a plus 8. And we're finished with that question. To do some more practice that's similar to this on IXL, I've got 2 lessons. I have S9P, and I also have lesson Y6U. So that's 2 lessons for you to get familiar with on IXL to practice this standard for your Algebra 1 EOC. And now for the last question on this page, number 21, circle the equations that represent exponential decay. And that, when you're looking at your reference sheet, you have 2 forms of exponential functions. And if you look at the first one, f of x equals AB to the power of X. We said that A is your what? A is your y-intercept, and B is telling you whether you have an increasing or decreasing function. And increasing would be growth, and decreasing would be decay. So when B is greater than 1, you have increasing or a growth function. So we're looking for decay, which is where B is less than 1, to give us decreasing decay. So 2/3, this one, the A is 1. 2/3 is less than 1, so that is decay. 3/2 is greater than 1, that would be growth. And we've got 2/9 is less than 1, so that would be decay. And we've got 3/5 is less than 1, so that as well, that would be decay. So there were 3 answers. Oh, look at Mrs. Cameron. What did I do? I put it in a box instead of a circle. Oopsie poopsie, such a rebel today. And to practice the standard in IXL, I have lesson 5QL, and this will be a quick one, and it'll help seal that in your brain that the B is telling you growth or decay in an exponential function. Thank you so much for staying with me with this video and this series of videos to help get you ready for your Algebra 1 EOC. And I wish you all the best on that test. I'm really, really sending out all of my good vibes, and I can't wait to see you pass that test and say, "See you never, Mrs. Cameron. I got my graduation requirement." All right. See you on the next one.